extends to the movie's ending and post-credit scenes. Now, spoiler warning in case you haven't seen Shazam yet. Come on, what are you doing clicking on this video? Scram! Okay, Shazam features 2 post-credit moments. Well, 2 scenes after a teasery final image. And in case you had any questions about any of this stuff, I'm gonna break it all down for you. First, let's talk about the final shot of the movie. So after the villain Dr. Sivana is defeated, the final scene takes place back at Billy and Freddy's school cafeteria. Shazam walks in and talks up Freddy, making him look like the coolest kid in school for being friends with him. He announces to the students, "This guy taught me everything I know about being a dope superhero, true story." He says, "What's going on, my best bud in the whole world? And also new kid that I'm meeting for the first time, but seems very cool." And then he says, "I brought my other friend, I hope that's okay." Then we hear John Williams' iconic Superman theme as the Man of Steel himself strolls in with a lunch tray. Now we only see him from the neck down, no face. And Freddy screams in shock before we cut to the credits. Now the reason we don't see Superman's face is contract disputes between the studio, Warner Brothers, and Henry Cavill. They wanted to feature a full Henry Cavill Superman cameo in Shazam, but reportedly the studio wouldn't agree to sign on Henry Cavill to more future Superman films. And Cavill's team was justifiably annoyed that Warner kept forcing him to play the character in all these complicated team-up movies rather than a successful solo film like Man of Steel was. Meanwhile, the most recent of these team-up movies wasn't really received all that well and used this weird-looking CGI to cover his mustache. So in order to keep this walk-on surprise in the movie of Shazam, they had to use a stand-in and keep his face covered. But ignoring all this stupid behind-the-scenes drama, this Man of Steel cameo is still super fun. Exactly the joyous fan service that makes Shazam so great. But let's now move on to the first of the 2 post-credit scenes. We see Dr. Thaddeus Sivana, Mark Strong, in his cramped prison cell, mumbling and madly scribbling the ancient 7 symbols as a way to try to regain his magic. But of course it doesn't work, perhaps because Shazam broke the wizard's staff after sharing powers with the other kids in his family. Sivana's pencil or whatever he's using snaps, and he screams and he pounds on the wall, but then a voice calls out to him. "Ha ha ha ha, primitive simples. You walking, talking monkeys with your cave drawings. You assume there's only one way to gain magic. No, 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 there are more ways than the mind can imagine." And after looking around confused, Sivana finally sees that the voice is coming from a little worm on the windowsill. It's got a voice translator around its neck. Though I guess worms are kind of all neck. Sivana asks, "What in God's name?" And the worm cuts him off saying, "I am the God's doctor, not the other way around. Oh, what fun we're about to have together. The 7 realms are about to be ours. Ha 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 ha." So I know some of you were like, what? So this is Mr. Mind, a DC villain and well-known foe to Shazam / Captain Marvel. He's also known as Captain Marvel originally in the comics. And Mr. Mind leads the Monster Society of Evil. Not known for its subtlety, but hey, it's comics. Mr. Mind is telepathic and has mind control-based powers, which makes the voice translator kind of redundant, but so is the name Monster Society of Evil, and again, comics. Mr. Mind actually showed up earlier in the film as an Easter egg, trapped in an encasement in the Rock of Eternity. But later, when Sivana finds the place and gains the power of the 7 deadly sins, the encasement is shown again, shattered and empty. Now, I'm gonna go deeper into why Mr. Mind's appearance could be important for the future of the DCEU, but before I continue, big thanks to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. Raid Shadow Legends is an awesome mobile game, probably the most immersive experience you will find on a smart device. Honestly, we should be comparing it to the biggest PC and console titles. But this game is totally free. Raid has all the features that you'd expect from a brand new RPG title, an amazing storyline, awesome 3D graphics, giant boss fights, PvP battles, and hundreds of champions to collect and customize. Guys, I never expected to get this level of performance out of a mobile game. Just look how crazy the level of detail is on these champions. Jeez, I would tell her to cover herself up some more, but those are skull earrings, and I believe they're human size. Raid is getting big real fast, so jump on this to get a huge head start. There's also a special launch tournament coming up with crazy in-game prizes and real-life physical prize packs. So go down to the description and download Raid only through our links to get 50,000 silver immediately and a free epic champion as part of the new player program, courtesy of the developer team. See you there. Okay, back to Mr. Mind in this Shazam post-credit scene. Mr. Mind was first introduced as a super intelligent alien worm from Venus who was attracted to Earth's radio signals, and later on his Monsters Society of Evil was one of the earliest times in comics that passed past villains band together. Along with Mr. Mind on the team, there was Dummy and Mr. Who and Ramulus. It was kind of goofy, but it did lay the groundwork for future entities like the Legion of Doom. Also, you could say the Sinister Six, or maybe even the Suicide Squad. Now, in the scene, notice that Mr. Mind mentions the 7 realms. This could indicate that Mr. Mind is being adapted from the more recent DC comics, in which he's Maxivermus Mind, and he attempts to control the power of the 7 magic lands. There's the Earth lands, the Fun lands, the Game lands, the Dark lands, the Monster lands, the Wazender lands, and the Wild lands, where Mr. Mind comes from. By establishing these 7 realms, Mr. Mind is broadening the DC cinematic universe in the kind of way that movies like Thor did for the MCU with its 9 realms. Or another analogy could be Doctor Strange, with the way it introduced a multiverse of various dimensions accessed through magic. Mr. Mind could also be the gateway to how Black Adam could join this universe. Black Adam is Shazam's primary antagonist, and in the New 52 relaunch, Dr. Sivana is the one to reawaken Black Adam from his tomb. Black Adam actually cameoed as a little Easter egg earlier on as a projection, and that projection did kind of look like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who's going to be playing him in a future film. So by expanding Shazam's world to these 7 realms, it's all but certain that Black Adam will probably be part of this universe. And that brings us to the final post-credit scene of Shazam, a jokey stinger that rolls at the very end of the credits. Shazam and Freddy are back testing powers, including talking to fish. He says this to his goldfish: "Don't beat yourself up, little buddy, you're gonna find someone." Yeah, I'm sure, because there's plenty of fish in the sea. Now, this scene might have been cut from the power testing montage earlier in the movie, because you may remember it from one of the trailers.
I can't talk to fish. What can we do with that that's cool?
Maybe command an army of billions in the ocean?
Oh, yeah.
And in this scene, it holds on Shazam a bit longer as he says, "Well, that's not that cool." And you probably noticed that Freddy's wearing one of his many Justice League hero shirts showing the Aquaman logo, with this whole final stinger being another shout out to the DCEU. And I look forward to rewatching Shazam to catch all of the Easter eggs, because boy oh boy, there were a lot of them. So comment down below with your favorite moment from Shazam, and follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EAVOS, and subscribe to New Rockstars for deep dives into all the stuff you love. And for those of you so desperate to see Superman's face in that final shot, fine. Look, here he is. Look, see, there's no head. That's why Freddie Freeman screamed. Are you happy now?